mean,
I
there's
mean,
been times
basically.
when we've been like, all right, y'all, should we keep doing this? Like, are we tired? Whatever. And
Yeah.
I like to tell folks that, there's been moments where younger folks have come to us and been like, my parents don't know I'm queer. I can come here and be myself. That particular tidbit is so priceless that it's not even a question, of whether or not to continue when you hear things like that.
All right. Very excited about this interview today. Lady Ryan, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank
So
you.
I feel like we know you from afar,
Mm.
but can you tell us a little bit about yourself and your background?
Sure. My name is Ryan, Lady Ryan. I am originally from Hampton, Virginia, moved to the Bay way back in 98 as soon as I could leave. Um, Sang in the choir as a child, always been into music, heavily influenced by my parents. Um, Sang in a band for a while in my early 20s. Decided that I didn't want to have a desk job anymore. Had a great mentor when I was 21 that taught me about creating your reality, manifestation, cooking with fresh vegetables. Like
That's
she
great.
really
The whole
That's the key.
circle.
upped my life.
That's the key. It's such a difference.
Right?
It's such a difference.
Like fresh garlic. I was like, what?
Yeah.
So, yeah. So from that, I just kind of was like, all right, what do I want to do in life that I would love to do every day? And music was part of that. Maybe something with gardening or plants or something, but I gravitated towards music and I've been DJing full time for 18 years this year.
Mm.
Nice. Congratulations. That is
You've raised a
18
whole
years
adult
is ooh.
in that
Yeah.
So
time.
true. And
Yeah.
I can see it in our community.
Yeah.
There's like two generations underneath now.
That's gotta be
I'm
a really good feeling.
Yeah, they're calling me auntie. It's
Right.
high
I was about
five.
to say, how does it feel to have reached this status?
It's interesting because I feel a lot of me still feels young
And are still
and
young.
am.
Yeah.
But I also remember being that age and I'm like, dang. And I remember who I looked up to and I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm them now. It's just time flies.
Yeah.
So the perspective of it is just really interesting. I enjoy getting older. I know what I'm doing. I always heard older folks say that you're gonna love it when you get to be over 40. It's totally true.
Mm.
I think especially for my generation, because I feel like our my generation has been able to kind of get out the box of what we were maybe told we were supposed to do. And
Hmm.
even though that hasn't necessarily been easy for all of us, it's liberation. So yeah, it's good. I'm an auntie.
It's like congratulations. I feel like that's it. That's amongst the other awards that you have earned in your career. I feel like that is a key one for the queer community because I cannot think of the Bay Area music scene, party scene without thinking of you
Wow.
and the experience that I had there because I lived there for like 5, 6 years. And anytime I knew if I was going to a party and you were DJing, I was like, no, I will make the effort. I will make the energy to go to this party because I know I'm going to have a good time.
For sure.
That's a blessing. Thank you.
100%. I did want to ask, so I mean, something told you to get out of the 757 and get out of Hampton. What was it like, and why did you choose the Bay Area in particular to go out to?
Yeah, so a lot of things in my life, the way they have unfolded, have not necessarily been by some thought out choice at all. Um, but it all makes sense looking back at it. So, um, I I'm trying to think how do I word this respectfully. I was kind of a rebellious kid in a way. I had some stuff going on that I was
Hmm.
dealing with and was kind of angry. Looking back, I was like just butting heads with my parents. I mean, it's kind of like regular teenage stuff.
Yeah.
Um, but I had the opportunity to leave. At the time, my former partner was moving to Pittsburgh, California, which
Okay.
is like Bay
That
Point,
pause. Yeah.
like, yeah, suburbs,
Yeah.
Antioch.
Hmm.
And their dad was just like, if all y'all want to move, it was like a group of friends, it's like if all y'all want to come out here, you can. I was the only one crazy enough to do it. Um, well, not
That's
crazy.
very California of that offer. That is such a Bay Area offer for a parent to be like, yeah, y'all, come on. Yeah, we
Right.
can
And
move.
little did I know, like, when I got there, I needed to hurry up and get a job. Like these things were not thought out at all. Like, so I
Hmm.
was
Yeah.
hungry, and I have a lot of pride, don't want to ask for anything. I ended up asking my parents for a couple $100s, which they don't, at the time they didn't really have it. So it was kind of a big deal, to be asking for anything. But, it was like somewhat of a rude awakening, but it really pushed me into adulthood in a way, taking care of myself. But it just ended up being Pittsburgh. And it made so much sense later on with the history of the Bay Area, Black Panther movement, um, and just thinking about the history of Hampton, Virginia, the
Hmm.
Emancipation Oak, Hampton University. You've got a lot of slave uprising that came from there. So it just kind of like made a lot of sense. I learned a lot, and coming to the Bay, I learned a lot.
Yeah.
Um, just as far as like how much we've been lied to in our school system about what really happened. And
Hmm.
I was super even more angry about that and ended up having to turn towards Buddhism for a while to kind of
Mm.
like, calm it down, which was like just another great coincidence, started meditating and things so I wouldn't have to be like angry at white people, which, that still comes back.
Yeah. That's not going nowhere.
Forever.
Right.
As long as
Yeah.
they hold on to
I
the
can't
spaces.
imagine that it didn't, but
Right.
Yeah.
you have the tools
Yeah.
But
now.
Yeah.
yeah, so, and then at the time, like being, growing up in Virginia, I didn't really have any examples of other people that were queer that looked
Hmm.
like me, that were my age, or, there was like nobody really talked about it. There would be
Yeah.
like some folks in the church that were obviously gay,
Hmm.
flaming, and we all loved them and didn't even
Yeah.
say anything about it.
Hmm.
Or it would be like the gym teacher that
Hmm.
was obviously queer, but there was nobody that I could relate to. So I always had these feelings. I knew since I was probably like in second grade, for sure by the time I was 9, but I wasn't going to say a word because it was already enough,
Yeah.
dealing with, we knew growing up exactly where the KKK was down the street from a house. Like
Hmm.
there was just already enough going on to not have to deal with being judged. It's like I was very skinny. I was, it's like the way people pick each other apart, in our communities. It's like you can't be too fat, you can't be too skinny, you can't be too
Hmm.
dark, can't be too light. So I just wasn't, I was kind of shy anyways. I still am. So I wasn't trying to like talk about any of those things. So it was really cool to get here and eventually meet other people. And I got called out. I was, my homegirl was like, I know you like girls. It's like, what?
Me? Gay as hell.
Oh,
Right.
okay. So gay, right? I love to tell this story because she had printed out this picture. No, it was on our computers in our office. And so she pulled up this picture of Holly Berry with these little shorts on and her legs was all oiled up. And she was like, you gonna tell me that you don't like this?
Not the Holly picture too, where it's like, well, obviously. I'm not gonna say no to this.
I feel
Yeah,
like
she
more
put it.
of our friends needed to do that test. Like I've had a conversation where our friends are just like, "Oh, we were just waiting for you to tell us." And I'm like, "No, do some shit like your friend just did."
Right? Straight
That's the true
up.
test.
Call your friend out. Maybe they'll feel like, oh, I can be myself. I can be okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, so I was glad for that. So yeah, everything just unfolded moving here to the Bay, and I didn't plan on staying, but glad I did.
yeah. There's a freeing and affirming safety here, being a queer person. That's like you don't get that anywhere else. And I feel like everybody who's experienced it, us three have been here, it's been similar stories of that, like coming out here where it's like it's a different type of safety out here
Mhm.
being
Mm,
queer. So
Agree.
it's
And
good to
there's levels
experience it.
to it. Like when I
Mhm.
first started going out to the clubs and stuff, it was very to me, it was very hetero inside our community, like very
Mhm.
femme, very masc, one or the other. I didn't feel like I fit into either one. And I would try whichever way, and I was just so uncomfortable. And so it's been kind of good to see more, just like the word queer being embraced more, where
Yeah.
you kind of don't have to be either or. Like, in the Bay, I feel like it's more cool to not have to fit into either category. But when I go other places, it's definitely, well, I can't because of COVID, I haven't been anywhere in a while, but I feel
Just
like,
that.
that separation was definitely there when I would, venture out to other states.
Tell us about the evolution of the Bay Area queer scene from the time you've been out here until now. I'm sure you've seen an awful lot in the time. It's been a
Yeah.
lot that's happened. So yeah,
Yeah.
tell us about like just the evolution of things. You kind of mentioned it there, but like, yeah, any reflections?
Yeah, I always like to mention the folks that came before me. Of course, we are standing on the shoulders of folks. And when I first started going out, and I didn't start going out till like 2006. So it took me a while to kind of merge,
Hmm.
emerge out. And lots of stuff was already going on. So there's very many parties that I missed out on that a lot of my friends and colleagues have amazing stories about, and I just listen and wish I was there. But Paige Hodel, DJ Black, who taught me to DJ, Christiana, who was doing Butter. The Butter party was
Hmm.
huge.
About that.
And it's still going on. Like it's still a staple in our community. Most of it was in San Francisco. Like most of the queer parties were in San Francisco. DJ Black was like one of the first queer Black women DJs to push hip hop in San Francisco, because back in the day, a lot of club owners didn't want hip hop played in any kind of space.
Hmm.
Mm.
So
Makes
DJ Black
sense.
really pushed for that. And there was a party called Blackout. There was Backstreet, which I never got to go to Backstreet. I really want to do this justice. There's so many, curators. Chili D had her party at the cafe. That was my
Mhm.
first gig in San Francisco ever.
The cafe.
Yeah, at the
Yeah,
cafe. That was a
that
really
was a
big
great
deal.
space. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think that over the years, it's just gotten more, I think just more accepting
Hmm.
of, just how people want to show up in a space. It's still pretty segregated here in California.
It is.
Yeah.
It is. That's what threw me for a loop out here. I was like, in the South, we just gotta, we are all in one club, but out here,
Hmm.
it's, yeah, it is
Yeah.
segregated.
It's
Threw me off.
interesting. There's very much pros and cons to that.
Yeah.
I kind of wish the guys and the gals would get together a little more.
Yeah.
But I get it. People are trying to find dates.
Hmm.
But even then, we
Oh,
still just go in there and kind of look at each other and then do nothing.
Don't do
So
right?
anything.
My
Don't date.
homeboys be like, oh, it's just girls in there. I'm like, what?
They say it like it's cooties, and
I
it blows
Right?
my
know.
mind every
Yeah.
time. And it's similar here in Chicago, where it's just incredibly territorial because it's like we have Boys Town, and the whole street is catered to gay men, but there was one spot that queer women started to frequent more often, and it was almost like the winds changed and the gay men figured out that the women were trying to come to this one spot. And so they took it back over because they were like, no, you can't even have this one space
It's
within
crazy.
our street. And it's just like, what is it doing to hurt you or bother you? And yet all of the gay guys that I hang out with, they're like, I don't know how we survive without you all. So it's just like,
Love saying that.
What a dichotomy. This patriarchy is a mess.
It's
mm,
crazy, huh?
Yeah, I mean, it's same in Castro,
mm-hmm.
you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
They're just
There's
like
like
shutting down
one
queer
woman's
events.
party on a Wednesday, and I'm not even going to talk about that right now. It's just unfortunate. I'm like, because especially because it's current, I'm like, and I
Yeah.
only I heard,
Hmm.
the way they're treated is much different, and it's not even shocking, but I'm just like, come on, y'all.
Yeah.
We gotta
I
do
mean,
better.
you can even think about it with like the events that are hosted there and that could take over the Castro and how much issue the neighborhood would have with that. And it's like, it's for 2 days out of the
Right.
year. It's okay.
Yeah.
It's okay. You will survive without going into the dark corners of places and
Like, can we be
doing
happy
things
for
at
each
that
other?
point. Yeah. That's
For
always the
once.
thing. And I feel like one of the things, and you could tell me this since you've been in the Bay so long, I feel like it's always interesting that there are mainly just events for queer women, trans, non-binary folks, but there's never really been, or like in excess, there really hasn't been physical spaces for us. It's like, yes, we host parties, and yes, you have to go and build all of these relationships to be able to hold these safe spaces, but we really haven't had a lot of actual physical spaces. Have you seen that as a continuous trend, or were there previously more physical spaces that you could have? And if not, like, what do you have to do to build those relationships to make sure you're hosting safe spaces as you host these parties in different areas?
That is a great question. So I have heard of some spaces that used to be around. For example, I heard this is before our time,
Mm.
Cable's Reef, which is a historic um, gay bar, which is now not that anymore. Um, that used to be a women's bar way back in the day. That's what I heard, but I wasn't there. That's like, generation before me that knew about that. And there's been a few in the city, like prior to us. And I can't even speak to it because I don't have all my research ready to go. I can see how this might be a little bit difficult for an owner of a establishment because women tend to nest
Mhm.
and, have kids and not go out, and we don't make as much money as men do. And the way we move is a little different.
Mhm.
So
We don't drink as much.
we don't, yeah, all these things, it's like, how you gonna make money?
Hmm. In that format. Yeah.
Right. Like what resources do we have the same resources like white men do? Like absolutely not. So how is this going to happen? But when we are curating and making decisions on where to hold our events, it is a process of vetting, um, going into the space, feeling how it feels, getting to know the owner, getting to know the staff, looking to see how diverse is the space. Do they have queer staff? How are their security? How is the demeanor of the security? We have to have conversations and meetings like about pronouns and, frisking and how, when they have to pat people down at the door, like how to handle these things. And I've had all kinds of different experiences. I've had really great experiences with some venue owners, and I've had horrible experiences with like disrespectful experiences. So it's all across the board, but it's worth it every time to do your research because the main thing is we need our folks to be safe.
Hmm.
And yeah, it's unfortunate we don't have more spaces. And then, it's hard to get a weekend night. Most of
Hmm.
the time we're offered a Tuesday, a Wednesday, maybe a Thursday night. And I kind of get it, the rent is due. So if you're a straight space and somebody wants to do a queer night, you really got to pack it out,
Yeah.
and if everybody's segregating themselves, there's options more than now there's a lot of new curators, new DJs, there's like a lot of options of events to go to. So it's very nuanced, this whole thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Soulovely, which it's on your hoodie for the folks who are listening to this. And one of the best parties I've ever been to. We've been to it because
Consistently.
Shana and I talk, yeah,
Consistently.
consistently, consistently good. Tell us the Soulovely origin story.
Proud. So proud. So the origin story of Soulovely is that DJ Emancipation, this was her idea, her brainchild of having more representation for femme presenting DJs. At the time, there was predominantly masculine of center DJs showcased in the Bay, period.
Mhm.
And she just wanted to create an event for femme presenting folks. I believe that was like, where it started. There's a whole lot of intention that went into this idea. At the time, I was like in the middle as I've always been right in the middle. I'm like, well, what am I today, a boy or a girl? So
Yeah.
when, when Eman hit me up about this, I was like kind of in my more masculine state of being. And I was like, dang, am I gonna, am I gonna do it? Like, am I gonna fem it up? And people would be like, what did you do with your branding? Like, and I'm like, oh my God, I put on a freaking dress, y'all. I guess it's working. It's so weird, but fine. So I went that way for a minute, but it was really dope because, that representation was needed. And we just went into a lot of more ideas around like what we wanted the party to feel like, look like, what type of music we wanted it to, what do we want it to sound like, woman power representation, Black and brown representation, like no B word, no N word, just like feel good foundation. And who knew it would become what it has become. And I really think that the intention underneath it is what has, made it grow to the incredible, I don't even know what to call it. It's like a church, but
Yeah, it is.
yeah, and half the people don't even know that we, put it on. So at first when Iman had this idea, it was like six of us in there, and you know, human beings are doing human being things. And so it ended up being three of us, me, Lady Ryan, DJ Emancipation, and the MC extraordinaire, Aima the Dreamer. So it's been the three of us. It's our 13th year this year. And there's generations in this thing. It's really a multi-generational event, and it's really beautiful. Super proud.
Yeah, y'all are coming up on season finale coming up. Is it
Yes,
the yeah?
October 27th will be our season finale.
13 years
Yeah,
that
13
is
years.
wow. No, that's amazing.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Praised us.
I
There's
mean,
been times
basically.
when we've been like, all right, y'all, should we keep doing this? Like, are we tired? Whatever. And
Yeah.
I like to tell folks that, there's been moments where younger folks have come to us and been like, my parents don't know I'm queer. I can come here and be myself. That particular tidbit is so priceless that it's not even a question, of whether or not to continue when you hear things like that. Now we're at the point where we can put on these upcoming DJs, and, we have an event coordinator now, Demi, who is just a godsend. They run this whole thing. And so we can somewhat take a little step back,
That's great.
it's hard to do. For me, it's hard to do.
Hmm.
Um, I
But
don't
good to
know.
have that extra help though
Oh
now
my
because of
gosh.
what you've
Yeah.
grown it to. Like
Yeah. And it's great to put other folks on. There's so much talent coming up. I'm
Mhm.
super proud of these folks. So it's like, here you go, pass it on. So
What would
glad
you
that
like to
yeah.
see Soulovely grow into, like in the future?
Okay, what we really want to do, there's so many things. There's a lot of ideas, and I don't want to say all of them because some of the times it's real powerful and you want to hold it right here.
Yeah.
Hmm.
But very much want to expand. And we've been talking about this for probably 10 years. Like, come on now. We really need to be in LA, Chicago, New
Chicago.
York, Miami, DC,
DC.
you know, Mexico, Puerto Rico, Hawaii. Like, let's go, like, let's take this intentional baby and spread it all over. So, that takes a lot of work. And I'm really impressed with other curators that are able to go to the other spot, go to another
Mhm.
city, figure out the venue. Like this is a lot, and
Yeah.
we're all
Hmm.
very busy. Some of us have children, so I'm thinking about maybe just hiring somebody to do that footwork. But um, yeah, we want to do that. And there's a like there's some really cool other ideas, just maybe some more intimate things for the community. I want us to have a child care center during the event.
Would
Mm.
be
We've talked about that
amazing.
Chris is
amongst
like,
us.
please.
But
We will throw our money at it. Just please. You know what? Because this isn't the same thing, but my friend who lives in Houston, there's a like weekends only like daycare that's open from like 8 a.m. to 11 p.m. And I just thought that's good. And it's only Saturday and Sunday. And I was like, that's awesome if you're a parent because
It's
a
smart,
brunch, you could take a nap. But
right?
yes, a daycare center.
And that's how you know, that speaks to the longevity of the event because there's a lot of folks that have kids now and want to come. And if they had just this little section over here
Yeah.
where you know their kids are getting taken care of and they can be all cute.
Hmm. And you
So
know
yeah.
what? I would trust y'all because of the intention behind the actual party itself, where it's like that. I feel comfortable bringing my son, giving it to these people because not everybody I let keep my kids, but you know
Yep.
that yeah, y'all created this with so much love and intention. Like I'm like yeah, y'all would pick the right people. So
Yeah, we
yeah,
got you.
yeah,
Yeah, hopefully that will happen.
okay, on board.
Yeah.
You're like, I will be the test subject.
Yep,
Thank you.
exactly.
Thank you so much. And when it comes to, especially you had pointed to the fact that there are so many different types of people, different age ranges that come to So Lovely events, but also other events that you go to. And I don't know how you do it, but you magically are in tune with the audience on a regular basis. I know this took time, but what goes into you curating your playlist, curating the vibe that you want to have for the space? How much of it is live versus how much is it preparation? Like, take us through the preparation process.
Ooh, I like this question. I think about this sometimes too, about like, what is it? How, how I'm like, is it because I'm a Cancer rising?
All the cancers out there are like, stop what I'm
Yeah.
doing. It's time. My time is here.
Right. Because when I first found that out that I'm Cancer rising, I was like, what? Because I'm an Aries. So, that's just like, but, as you get to understand all the pros and cons of every sign, I was like, oh, that actually makes a lot of sense. I'm very intuitive. And I just think that, like, I take the craft itself as a spiritual, it's just like a spiritual thing for me, period. Like, I'm like an open vessel. I'm opening my energy and my channels up. And I'm like, all right, sometimes I'm just like this, like, I don't even know how to explain it, but I'm just like this. I'm like, okay, what does the space need? And most of the time when I try to plan a set, I don't use any of it. Or so I don't plan. I don't do that. I've tried. Like if I have a short set where I know it's, 15 minutes to like a half an hour set, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna do it this way and I'll do it in order, so I cannot be frazzled or looking at my laptop like, what am I doing? I really enjoy that spontaneity of just kind of feeling what needs to be done.
Mhm.
So what I will do is think about what I want to hear, think about who do I think is going to be there. I love nostalgia. I think that songs that everyone knows is, unifying. It brings everybody together. Davey D sometimes makes fun of me because he says I'm the sing along queen, but it is dope. I will play a song, everybody's gonna sing along, and I'm gonna pull the music out and I can hear all
Mm,
y'all's voices.
Mhm.
Love that so much. And it's also a way to get everyone to trust you. You kind of give them what they need, and then they're in it. You got them, and then you can kind of throw some other stuff that they didn't know they need. So it's definitely been interesting as I'm getting older and new music is coming out to kind of stay up on the new trends and
mm,
what people are wanting to hear now. The Bay can kind of, no shade, but it can be a little late. Well, I guess Oakland, which there's, I look at everything as two sides of the same coin.
Mhm.
Because on one hand, I do appreciate that Oakland has been like, no, we want the original song. No, we don't want you to quick mix it out. I want to hear the second verse. Like, that's dope. And then also, I've been sitting on these remixes for so long, and I'm like, all right, are y'all gonna go sit down if I play this?
right.
Very, very finicky in the Bay. People stand up,
Yeah.
sit down.
Yeah.
I'm like,
Sit down hard. You're like, all right.
yeah, I'm like, I miss DC, I miss New York because if it's a beat, they go, Chicago
Yeah.
too. It's like if it's a good beat, they just gonna dance to it. The Bay,
Yeah.
Hmm.
Sit
you gotta
down.
have tough skin out here. Because they will look at you and shake their head and walk away from you like shunned.
Hmm.
So yeah, so that's just part of the craft though. You just gotta test out stuff and know how to pivot and pull out. Hopefully that answers your question. I mean, there's so much I could say about it, but I just really love the spiritual spiritual aspect of it. I feel that people are getting free on the dance floor, and if
Mhm.
I can, facilitate that, then I'm doing a service.
Yeah, when it comes to one of those moments, because you are probably seeing folks at either their most vulnerable, at their most tired, and this is like their night to get out and have a good time. They're trying something new. They might be hitting on somebody. They might be there on a date, anything. You're seeing people in a range of times of their lives at one time. What has been one of your most like memorable DJ sets or moments that stands out to you?
That's a good question.
I know there's so many to think through too, so I
There
understand.
is. Like the first thing that comes to mind, of course, I think it's gonna be So Lovely,
Or if there's a trend amongst them that you notice between
right?
them. Layers.
Yeah, I think it's the freedom on the dance floor. We're gonna go the
Mhm.
positive route on the answer. One time at So Lovely, y'all, you could never be surprised in Oakland, but this person got completely butt naked.
Okay.
Like, I
It's
mean,
not the weirdest thing so far from the Bay. I'm like, yeah,
right?
go on. Look, go on.
Right. We're like,
Right. For some
okay.
other folks, this might be
Yes.
like,
Yeah, like
oh my
that's
God.
enough.
But yeah, for the Bay, that's
Yeah.
why I'm like, well, you never can be, if you're in San Francisco, you're gonna see somebody naked. But yeah, we
Yes.
were in Oakland, and yeah, this person took off all their clothes. And it was a little shocking, but folks took care of him and made sure, he was all right, and not shunned. That, and then like when Kendrick Lamar's All Right song came out, just seeing everybody rage out
Mm.
their unity and solidarity and resilience and liberation like that. Oh man, I have a good video of that, of everybody just jumping up and down. It's so dope. Um yeah, I think those two times are the ones that stand out to me, and that's just folks getting free, but I do see a lot, and I am nosy.
Like you just get to watch from this perch and just be like,
Yeah.
ah, noted. Or
Yep.
even I could one of the things that I always have wanted to know about DJs, especially when you're hosting your own parties, is you start to recognize faces and you start to see like, your folks who are coming back and are hanging out at the parties. But then you start to see them with different people throughout the event. And that becomes like your own personal tea that you get to
Oh
have at
yeah.
your shows.
Absolutely. I'm like, I've seen the evolution of so many relationships. Like, I remember when y'all got together. I remember when y'all broke up. I remember when this person was humping a thigh that they wasn't supposed to be humping. Like,
Mm,
I've seen it all. It's pretty dope. And also there's this other responsibility that kind of gets pushed onto the curator which I'm not even sure if I want to go here about this, but there's like all kind of conflict in any type of community, right? And then when that conflict happens, folks want to be like, "Oh, tell this person not to come to your event." And it's like,
mm.
Yeah.
look,
You're like, wait a minute.
it,
We got other thing going on.
there has been times I wanted to do a PSA like, y'all, like I don't have a psychology degree.
Hmm.
Like I don't have the energy to sit here and listen to both sides and be a therapist. I need an Excel sheet to keep track of how many of y'all don't want to see each other. It's like, it's too much.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's pretty wild.
I mean, the
It's like,
expectations on y'all become the
Yeah. You
most
can
because
imagine.
yeah,
like
yeah.
Like,
Y'all
we
are
just
kind
kind
of like the
of,
church for real. Like you mentioned it, but y'all really are. Like it's like I don't want to see them in the pews on Sunday. Like let them in here. You're like, I'm just trying to get the music right for
right.
Sunday.
You're like, I'm just trying to
right.
bring a word
Yeah.
to our
Yeah. I have
I'm
congregation
a
just
today.
trying
solo.
to
Like,
bring a
please leave me
word.
alone.
I have a solo to get ready for it. Yeah. You kind of mentioned it with wanting to create like more intimate spaces, but are there any like different type of either music centric events or just events in general that aren't partying and clubbing in the queer community that you would like to see?
Yeah, I have seen some folks doing some stuff and I'm working on doing some more stuff too. Like I've seen some paint and sips. Our homies that throw the events under the name L Afters, also Queer in Oakland.
Mhm.
Trying to think who else. Um, Me and my partner, we throw events under the name The Sweet Spot, and we've done some shows just with live musicians, bands, stuff like that. We're working on doing like a non-alcoholic event. That's been done
Cool.
before though, but
Yeah.
um,
Still, even seeing that grow though too is yeah, yeah, that's
yes,
great.
that's exciting.
Yes.
So more
Because I
people are
mean,
getting into that. So
yeah, that
yeah,
was a
yeah,
center for the queer community was alcohol. So it's a great opportunity for us to move past this.
totally. Yeah, and I feel like the younger folks are kind of spearheading that in a way too.
Hmm.
Great.
Hmm. Yeah.
I kind of think it's due to COVID, but
Yeah, I think
that's
COVID
a
had a lot
silver
to do with it.
lining. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's fine.
He's like, where can we go where we could wear these sweatpants?
Right.
Like, it's
Where can I
acceptable.
keep this vibe going?
Hoodie on, yeah. With friends and music. It's like,
Right.
let's grow this. So cool. So you work with your partner.
I
Yes.
do.
How
Yeah.
did y'all first meet?
So her name is Denise Chakra Khan.
Come on.
Love her dearly.
That's
I
awesome.
know, right?
Come on.
So I met Denise because I was DJing. We met a long time ago. I was DJing at Butter. Um, so grateful to have been on that, on that event because it's just, the staple in the community. I met Pam the Funkstress there, who's like, rest in peace, bow down to the queen. But Denise, I was playing a lot of reggae and dance hall back then, thanks to the homie DJ Surge, who hooked me up with some crates. Okay, I want to say this real quick because I'm jumping, but it must be said that Trina, yes, Trina Alexander used to do a reggae party called Burning Bush for Black lesbians
That's
back in the day. Isn't
amazing.
that a good name?
Burning bush. No
Bring that
notes.
back.
Perfect.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I kind of
Yeah.
think we need to bring that back. I'm
Bring
gonna
that back.
out. Like, what do you
Yeah.
think?
Yeah.
Um, yeah, she's doing like yoga and stuff now. She's
Okay.
like,
The perfect transition. Like,
Yeah. Yeah. So it works.
very
It can
zen,
work in
very
between.
grounded, very much a great example of how to,
hmm
move on.
mm,
But yeah, so I was doing the burning bush parties, playing reggae and stuff. So then when I went and did Butter, Denise was there. I don't know if she was dancing because she's done a lot in the community over the years, but she was like curating for Chili D, the dancers, and she told Chili D, like, I really want to have this DJ here. I don't hear representation of, because she's from Hawaii, so she's all about reggae dance hall, island vibes, and she's like, we don't get that in San Francisco. Please hire Ryan. So that's how we met, long time ago, and yeah, I mean, we've always kind of been in community together, but 4 years ago is when we decided to join in partnership, and I'm just completely in love with her, and she was like, let's do a party together. And I'm like, oh no, because I had a lot of folks asking me actually, like, let's do something. And I'm like, just sitting thinking about it, like, I don't know, should I, shouldn't I? I'm tired, blah, blah, blah.
Mhm.
But
hmm
Denise is a boss lady, and I'm really glad that, I decided to say yes to this whole idea because she really cares about her community deeply. She's super organized, a big old heart, puts her all into everything she does. It's very smart. So I'm just like, okay, cool. This is not cumbersome for me.
Mhm.
It's a good partnership, and we have a great time doing it. It's great. I'm super grateful for her.
That's beautiful.
So yeah, that's the sweet spot.
I
Nice.
love it. How do you manage balancing like a working relationship while also still being romantic outside of it? Because also, this isn't just like a normal working relationship in terms of that you are thrown into people who are, highly sexual and, want different relationship and things. It's like, and you are kind of the face behind all of it too. So
Mhm.
it's like, I know that people feel like they have an access to you because you host these events and because they attend them. So what does that look like for y'all to manage those things, but then also still keep the romance alive outside of the
That's
events?
such a good question. And there's a lot in there too. I'm like, okay, so there's this part and there's that part. The first part of what you said is like, what does it look like? Because I noticed a guy brought her home to Virginia, and we were sitting on my mom's couch and we're working on our phones, you know, um, promoting for whatever next event we have. And my mom was like, she's like, do you all always do this? Like, and to us, it's just regular. It's like,
Yeah.
oh, did we email such and such? Did we do the promo for this? And then we just like start, we don't, it, we're very similar,
Hmm.
which is probably helpful. We're very similar. The way our brains work is similar. So maybe we should have like a structured way. I can imagine like some type A people being like, okay, from 10 o'clock to 12, we work on these things. Like, child, we are just getting it done, flying by the seat of our pants, having the best time while we're doing it. I feel really fortunate that Denise, she's been a bartender for over 20 years. She now manages, instead of bartending, she manages, but she's like, she's been in the community so long, she doesn't have that kind of like she understands me. Thank God I understand her. We know how it goes. We've been
Yeah.
doing this a long time, so people do think they have a lot of access to me. I have found better ways of managing that because I love people and I am an open person and I'm like ready to give a hug and everything, and that's great. But I also have learned to kind of like have my boundaries, and not let people talk my head off. It kind of depends though, because when I care, I will stand there and talk to you, and that can sometimes be an issue just because it's like, it's like, come on, like I got a line of people standing there waiting to say
Hmm.
hi to me. And I will not break the conversation until I'm done. I know a lot of people know that about me, but I just hella care. And if I'm holding space for one person, I'm gonna hold that space. But yeah, people with alcohol, they get, flirty sometimes. And, her and I might joke about it, but it doesn't ever cause an issue because we're really solid with each other. And um, we could laugh about it or we could ask each other about it, like, what did you think about that? And it's like, oh, whatever. Communication is really important, and I think we have good communication, so that makes it easy. And plus we're like busy and tired, child. I'm like, I don't have time.
Right.
Half the time I don't even realize it's happening.
Right.
My whole career, actually, half the time I didn't know I was being flirted with. I probably could have had a lot more fun, but that's fine
Classic.
She's like,
too,
there are
because
panties on stage. You're like, were there?
right?
I was in my mix.
You were like,
Like,
I thought they were
okay.
asking me to do laundry. That's all it was.
Yeah, yeah,
That's
just go with
Exactly.
that.
If nothing else, my energy got protected, so I'm pure.
Pure. I did want to ask before we go to like backward opinions, like what are your like musical influences? Like what is your earliest music memory? Since it's played
Yeah,
such a
I
big
like
part
that.
of your
I
life.
love this question because my dad, my dad, he made me a cassette tape in 1985 or 86, or probably 85, 86. And on one side of the cassette tape was Michael Jackson's Thriller, the whole
Hmm.
album.
Hmm.
And on the other side was Janet Jackson's Control.
Wow.
And
How
that
did
was
that
the
come as a bundle?
soundtrack, right? Like, and I still have that tape, and I'm so grateful to him for making that tape for me because I had my little pink boombox, and I would just listen to this. That's all I listened to,
Hmm.
And
So
I
you
would be
really
outside on
needed.
my swing set, and I would be singing "Nasty Boys," and and my neighbor, Mr. Anderson, would be like shaking his head at me because this is like not what this little girl should be singing. My mom was fine, but yeah, so we had growing up, it was like, my mom was like Patti LaBelle, Whitney Houston, Peabo Bryson,
Hmm.
Luther. Like I can barely listen to Luther without tearing up.
Um,
I just love
Honestly.
him
yeah.
so much.
Yeah.
Oh my God. And I'm like, and thank God my mom is still here, thank God. And but I don't know, man. That Luther and
Mhm.
that connection of him and my mama, I'm like,
Yeah.
so that's there. And then my stepdad listened to like a lot of like Jimi Hendrix, Pink Floyd, Weather Report, like Funkadelic. You know, he would be walking around the house. We want the funk. Gotta have that funk, like real, you know, let's ride, Clyde.
Oh my God.
Um,
My dad
yeah.
says it all the time. God
You know
damn,
what
that
I'm
was
talking about?
such a Virginia nigga thing. Oh
Very.
my God, damn
Let's ride, Clyde. I'm
Rod,
like, okay, Dad.
Rod. Just get in the
I
car.
love that you know.
Yes, listen, nonstop. Still, no, I don't want to ride Clyde. Like,
Yeah, right. Like I don't want to go to the store with you and get your cigarettes,
just
but
right. And very much that.
right. Or go get gas from mom's car.
Mhm.
So yeah, that's yeah, my musical influences were very soulful.
Yeah,
Very
yeah,
soulful.
and diverse too.
Mm.
Hmm.
So, yeah, very diverse. That's cool. Cool.
Yeah, oh yeah, one more thing. My dad took me to that concert in 1989 for Michael Jackson, the Bad Tour.
Oh, wow,
And that
never
was my
seen
first
it.
concert ever in life was seeing Michael Jackson.
Wow,
What a
Mhm.
what a
wow.
start.
Right. What a start.
I agree.
Yeah. How old
I've
were you
been
when you
so,
were at that concert? That was your that has to be a crazy
yeah, I was
first
9 years old.
concert.
And they didn't tell me I was going to that concert. They said we were going to a football game or something.
Wow.
And I didn't get it at all. Like I'm like, you know,
Mm-hmm.
there's all these people. I didn't notice no signs.
Mm-hmm.
All of a sudden he just comes out and I was like, they always make fun because I was just
I
crying. Like the
bet.
whole time I was crying.
Yeah.
So cute.
Just
I
a
feel like
whole
at that time that
concert.
was the effect that Michael Jackson had was just I don't know how
Yep.
anybody saw the concert. They just heard it because
Yeah.
everybody was just sobbing and
Right?
passing out and
That's the
sobbing.
one where
Yeah.
he threw the hat out into the crowd. Like,
Oh wow.
crowd. Yeah.
Wow.
Epic.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm
He just
very grateful for my influence from
yeah.
my parents.
It
Wow.
was destined.
Wow.
Destined for greatness. I swear. Whew. That's a cool first concert.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think that's the perfect segue into our bad queer opinions because what else can we level up from that at this point? So,
Right.
Oh yeah.
what
That was a flex.
this the most solid of flexes. So
Thank you.
let's go ahead to our bad queer opinions because what type of bad queers would we be if we didn't have unpopular queer opinions? So, Lady Ryan, we told you ahead of time. Feel free to question, judge, follow up questions, anything with our bad queer opinions. This should be a fun time. With this, I will go ahead and go first. So I've noticed, mainly out here in Chicago, because we also tend to host our events at different venues, especially when it's focused on queer women or trans or non-binary folks, anything that's not outside the gay men, because they have a whole street, as mentioned before. And there is this weird straight queer crossover that happens at certain points of the event where the queer party ends and the straight party begins, but nobody says anything about it. All of a sudden, it is just overtaken by straight folks and it just becomes a lot of jumping and fist pumping and the lights come on and it's loud and it's so jarring at this point. And I am making a PSA to any venue that does this to stop it and to please just make an announcement. That's all I'm asking. All I'm asking is that you make an announcement because it is the most aggressive thing when all of a sudden you're in your zone and the DJ's cool and you're hanging out and then you turn around and you're surrounded. It is a personal attack. I no longer like it. And I am asking for you to stop and just please just make an announcement. That's all we need. That's all we want. I have had this happen to me too many times in this city and I hate it.
That's fascinating. So, a question, are these
Yes.
day parties or night parties?
Night parties or like they kind of shift into night parties. So it's like a mid-afternoon evening. It's like the party started at 4, goes to like 11.
Oh yeah.
That's why.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's like make an announcement.
Just that's all I'm asking. I was
This
like,
hard
But,
TV
style.
okay,
event venues.
question. So, because, okay, so this used to happen at the cafe when Chili D would have her women's parties during the day,
Mm.
and then it would immediately change to gay men night. Like,
Were these on
immediately.
Sundays?
It was on it was on
They're
Sundays.
Sundays. Okay.
And you know, we would be doing our hip hop, reggae, salsa. And then like I would if I was closing, it would be the last song. The next DJ that was coming on for the next shift would just go straight techno, like,
It
and it
goes
wouldn't
up.
even mind. Yeah.
Blend.
They were just like, this is off, this is on.
Yeah.
Yeah, very jarring, right? So I kind of can relate to what you're saying a little bit. It was just like, and I remember I said, I actually the DJ, he's so cool. I see him now all the time, and he's like, "Remember that time you said to me?" Because I was so opinionated and hot-headed back then. But so these parties that you're talking about in Chicago, it starts at 4. Does it have an ending time on the promo?
Yeah, ish. Sometimes it's like a starts at this time, goes until whenever. But for the most part, we do have a start and end time.
So then you should know by
But
end time that you about to get
you,
bombarded.
At
at that
7 o'clock.
point, I've had libations. At that point, I have
That's
been
what's going
dancing.
on.
At that point, I don't know what time it is. It's like Vegas in here at this point,
Gotcha.
you know? It's dark. It's where because sometimes we do have like our day parties at like a beachfront event and things like that that are like right on the lake. And so we can see the sun going down. But at these indoor events, we don't know when the sun is going down. So it's just party, party, party. But there's no transition. There's no announcement. I am just asking for the party promoters to ask the DJ to make
Okay.
one single announcement because there's no
Yeah.
even like last song
Straights are
for
coming.
this
Right,
party.
yeah, it's
like, be
the
aware.
vibes are changing.
I need like a charging call.
Right? Y'all have 10 more minutes to be clear.
Yeah, right.
And then we're gonna make a run for it down this area. Like that
That's
is
so
all
funny.
I am asking for from the party
I
promoters
feel it.
and the planners to just figure out that announcement time so that we have time to close out and escape. That's all I want.
That's so funny. It is always those day parties like that going into night where it's just like, they're starting to
Yep.
file in. Like, yeah.
Yep, because some venues will close the day party down and reset everything.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of folks, they don't want to lose out on the money,
Mm-hmm.
you know, by shutting it down and starting all over. So if everybody's just gonna stay drinking, then
Yeah. And then all of a
Yeah.
sudden it's those like cloud cannons and then light switch and then it's the immediate and you're like, I don't know how we got here. Where did our DJ go? I
yeah,
just walked
our
over to
turn.
use the bathroom and come out and now it's switched to like
that's rough and
Don't know
very
how I got here.
unnecessary. Like you can switch to that kind of music within like 4 songs
Yeah.
without,
Yeah.
you know, hurting people.
the
It's very jarring. I totally get
Jarring.
it.
the word.
That's the word for it. It's like, come on.
So
It's
funny.
jarring.
Eat
It's
this in.
overwhelming. It's overstimulating. Like all of it just happens. And I'm just like,
I get that.
please, that is my call to anybody who's hosting an event. Just an announcement. Please.
I'm on your side.
It's happened too much.
Right. I was like, do they have an end time? Well, that's the
Right.
end time.
I was like,
You
I
got a
hear,
watch, got a phone.
I hear where you're going with this. And
Yep.
I
Yeah,
have
I wanna
entered
announce it.
Vegas at this point. I
Yeah.
don't know what time it is.
You had all kind of reasons.
Right. They ain't got no windows.
No windows.
Justification.
No lights.
Right.
I left my phone in the car. I have no watch. It's like,
I was like, did I set an alarm for this party to end? Like, absolutely not.
Oh my gosh.
That's so bad. Look at you lashing out at the
I
organizers.
just
'cause you
look,
don't
I
leave
was
the
just
time.
giving
Right.
facts.
I'm like,
So
don't
from an
blame us,
attendee.
child.
I was like,
Blame yourself.
yes,
That's
and
so funny.
was
Yeah.
it? It's like I hear you and.
That's hilarious.
Right. Mhm.
They said the music change is your notification.
Right.
Hard stop. But
Upset.
that's hilarious.
One announcement.
Right.
All right. Well, I don't personally have a backpack opinion this
You
week, but my
don't?
wife did.
Okay.
So
Mm.
this one is like well, I'll just share it to the world.
Phone a friend.
Yeah. She said no more sneakers at the weddings. Like that's enough. Like she's seen enough wedding photos, I guess, with sneakers. I'm like, okay, I can see it. I didn't want to wear sneakers at our wedding. But she was like, yeah, I'm a little overseeing all the sneaker weddings, like whether they're wearing matching sneakers or just like sneakers in general.
Is this for the people getting married or the attendees?
The people getting married.
Oh.
Yeah.
Mm.
Tired of seeing wedding photos with sneakers. I was like, yeah, it's a style thing.
It is a
but
strong thing in the queer community.
It's very strong.
You
It
didn't
is.
notice.
Some Converses.
I was like, see, now you're never gonna unsee it, especially when they
Yeah.
get the pride shoes.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I do think the matching shoes are a bit much. Like if it's like your personality, like the mask of center person or whatever wants or butch person wants to wear some sneakers or whatever, I get it. But the matching sneakers are a bit too much. I think that's like, all right. Okay. Huh.
You think it's
Thanks.
too much to be matchy-matchy?
Yeah, for your wedding day, but I also don't like matchy-matchy.
Right.
So,
I get it.
no, yeah.
I kind of don't like matchy-matchy either, but I have converted.
Yeah.
Mm.
What's
Denise.
the matchy thing you
I was
said
like
you
the
got
first set
talked
of
into?
pajamas that were
Right.
gifted to you, and
Oh,
then
everything. She just,
Yeah.
God bless my love. She wants to match.
Yeah.
And so I don't know. I just love her. So I'm like, okay, I
That's
can see
good.
how it's cute.
Yeah. Is it the
I've
do
never
y'all
been okay
match
with it.
exactly or do y'all do
All,
like
all
same colors?
kinds.
Okay.
Sometimes it's
We can
exactly. And
match.
I'll be like really more averse, like, no, I'm not gonna do exactly match.
Mm-hmm.
mm-hmm.
But yeah, sometimes when it's
Yeah.
coordinated, that's cute.
Yeah.
But I have never in my life ever said yes to this matching.
You're like, I'm doing it for love.
It
But
was thrust
see,
upon you.
coordinating's
How you
okay.
know
I
I'm
like,
really, really
let's
Like
do
you truly in
you're
this.
in. I am in this. Yeah, nah. Coordinating's okay. I think like, oh, we're wearing black today, but like kind of do your thing, or like complementary colors are okay. But like
yeah.
matchy matchy. I think the only matchy matchy thing we did is for our wedding we had like t-shirts or something made that was like I don't know for the bachelorette party or
That's
something.
as far
We
as
didn't
it.
actually wear it to the bachelorette party. It was actually after the bachelorette party we wanted to wear it. So yeah, yeah,
So they're wearing their sneakers at the ceremony and
mhm,
throughout the whole thing, right? That's
yep,
what the issue is.
yeah,
I mean, I don't know. I guess I feel like if you're a sneakerhead, then that makes a lot of sense.
yeah,
Especially if both of y'all are and you're like really into sneaker culture, then that's why.
yeah,
Because you know what you're doing.
Mm.
But also, I'm a huge advocate for comfort nowadays,
yeah. It matters.
very much.
So
So I
yeah,
don't know. I don't know,
yeah,
bro. I don't know where I sit with that.
yeah. Ultimately, it's up to listen. If you're having a
Yep.
wedding, you got there, wear whatever
Let
you want.
people.
But you
That's so
know,
funny. There is a group of queer folks who find this as the children say, the ick,
oh
and that would be that
yeah,
could be it
that could be
for
it.
them and the
Yeah,
things. I love the sneakers. I love the
It's
yeah.
sneakers.
giving
You like
off.
the sneakers?
Like,
Yeah.
because it's like a subtle thing, especially if like they're going more stereotypical and traditional, and it's like
Mm-hmm.
one person is wearing a dress and one person is wearing a suit, and then all of a sudden it's like a reveal from like under the dress to the sneakers, and it's just a cute little matching moment.
Yeah.
And I
It's
love it
style.
for
Yeah.
them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Listen, whatever works. Walk down the aisle, get married. That's all I care about. So yeah.
I will not be
But
doing it.
you want to be what?
I won't be doing that.
Yeah.
No, not in the ceremony. I'm not wearing no
Yeah.
sneakers.
Yeah. You're like, nah, I'm not doing
I
that.
can't see it.
Don't
Why?
let your
Well,
girl.
what's
Yeah, like, don't let your girl hear this. She'd be like, put these Converse on.
right? You need to be comfortable, babe.
Right. Just put them on. Just try
There.
them. They're comfortable. You're like,
Hmm.
all right, you got it. So,
So funny.
All
All
right.
right,
Y'all
after
ready?
you. After you.
mm-hmm.
All right.
Yep.
So I had a couple of ones that I thought of, but I think I decided on, which maybe this has been said before, and I hope so. I hope it has been said, but oh yeah, I might just say both of them, maybe.
I'm here for
But
it.
one is let mask for mask relationships be beautiful and be happy for these people. Please.
Please.
It's like it don't matter if it's two men, two women. I mean, not two women. Yeah, two men, two women, two theys, like two feminine men,
Mm-hmm.
two masculine men, like whatever. If it's two masculine of center people on any degree, folks just get so up in arms about it. It's really sad.
Yeah.
So,
Especially
they
within our
don't have that
community.
same, yeah, in our community, in our
Yeah.
own community. They're just like, what? I would never.
And it's always weird because they're like, that's really gay. And it's like, what?
I'm like,
Like,
what are we all
what
doing
are you
here?
talking about? Like, it's like
Right.
the dangerous gay, though. Like, not the regular ones, the really dangerous ones.
Like, it's just gross. Like, what
Yeah.
is we are human beings. Has that one been said before?
We talked about it before. I think it's been
Mm-hmm.
said
Yeah.
before, but always
Yes.
needs to be said again
But
because it comes up. I feel like every 3 months, there's like, I see a
It is a
video.
quarterly reminder that
Yeah.
we need to
Where they're
give the
like,
community.
oh, and it's like, we still mad
right,
about
like
this.
what
So,
do you need to come around to the other side of just being compassionate and empathetic and, loving people for who they want to be? Because that's what you want for yourself, don't you?
Mm-hmm.
mhm.
Not you, but you know, whoever they are.
Yeah, they know who we're talking about.
That
Triggered
one,
by
and then
this.
also, I don't feel like a gold star is the flex that people think it is.
Facts.
Love that one. Yeah.
Boom. That's that.
I love it. It's not. It's not. Yeah.
And especially the gay guys who are like super gold star because they came out via C-section.
Which is a crazy thing
Ah,
that that's
that's
a
a
thing.
thing.
It's a
A
thing.
thing.
It's a thing where they're like, oh, I've
Isn't
never,
that wild?
never,
I've never touched a vagina.
like in
That's
every sense
really
of the
not a
word.
flex.
And they super flex it. So it's like the gold star lesbian, but then like the super flex that gay men have leveled it up to be like, guess what? Uno reverse is how they pull it.
Don't say that around there, but their mom is like, what? Like, just that's a crazy thing to say.
Our vaginas are sacred.
It-
That's wild.
yes.
People be just taking it far. I get it, but no.
Yeah, no.
Agreed.
Mm-mm.
Nobody cares. And I feel like the younger generation doesn't care about that. Like that's not a thing. That I think that will like die off with our generations because
Yeah,
you know,
that's a
who's
good
like,
point.
yeah,
That's
like
ours.
I don't even see I don't even hear
Right.
that or see that out there anymore. Like,
Yeah, that's
oh, you
ours
know,
to
so
smash.
yeah.
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 I was like, the day I have some kid come up and be like, what's a gold star? And be like, I'm not even going to teach you about it. We don't
Yep.
Right.
pass this along.
No
Right.
worries.
Yeah.
Mm-mm. Mm-mm. It's that thing that we see in Super Mario Brothers. That's it.
There we go. There we go.
That's it. Those are fantastic. Thank you so much,
Hmm.
Lady
Thank you.
Ryan. And we'll go ahead and I don't know how we got here. I feel like we could talk all day, but we are
I
at the
could.
end of the show
Thank you.
and we are going to wrap this up, but we know we would never leave you without giving shout outs to our faves. My shout out this week goes to Old School Ballroom. It's a page that pays homage to the New York City ballroom scene from the early 90s and beyond. You can follow them on IG at Old School Ballroom and check out full videos that they have, historical interviews, all of those things on their YouTube at Old School Ballroom.
Oh, I love that. Can follow that. My shout out is to the IG account Hood Mid Century Modern, which was created by Jerald Cooper. The IG is devoted to making connections between modern architecture and Black culture by highlighting the unique designs of mid-century buildings and Black neighborhoods across America. I am a sucker for like old architecture, especially mid-century modern, and then this is fused with Black culture. So follow them on IG at mid-century modern. Hood mid-century modern, and we'll have it in the description.
Nice. I decided to shout out the Oakland LGBTQ Center, just because they have so much to offer. They have um, programming for aging folks, you know, Pride for Elders, Homeless Coalition, mental health and substance abuse, transgender advocacy, housing advocacy, family services, a youth club. Like they're doing the work, and you can pretty much get everything you need there. So shout out to Oakland LGBTQ Center.
All right. And for everyone else, how can they stay in touch with you and the work that you're doing? Where should they follow you?
Thank you. So my website is always up and functioning at Lady Ryan, LadyRyan.com. I'm on Instagram, DJ Lady Ryan. Facebook kind of gets updated, but mostly my IG and my website is where you can keep up with me.
All right.
Perfect.
Well, this was exciting.
This was.
This was so exciting for us.
Yes,
So.
this was one that we have been waiting for and so
Yeah.
glad that it happened and that this worked out. So thank you for your time today and all of your wonderful energy and for coming on to the show.
Mhm.
Thank you. Thank you all so much for the platform, for what you do. I'm super excited to be a part of it. Thank you for the flowers. I feel, you
Yeah.
know, I feel loved. And
Yeah, and you are. Thank you so much for all of the experiences. Again, some of the best nights we both talked about have ever had, you know, have been under your music and under your curation. So thank you so much for all that you do. And
Yes.
yeah, thanks
And
for
you
coming
are
on the
welcome
show.
back at any time.
Anytime. Yeah.
oh, good idea. I will.
Yeah.
Here we go.
Come back.
All right,
No,
I
for
got more
real.
to say.
No.
Yes. Yes.
And we have it recorded. So now you
That is
gotta
your
come back.
contract in case you ever
Yeah.
forget. Don't worry, we got it
Locked
here.
in.
Thank
Locked
you so
in.
much.
Got you in 4K.
Yep.
So this
Thank
is
you. Thank
cool.
you. And for everybody else who tuned in, I hope you enjoyed the episode. And as always, we will see you next week.
Take care.
It's me again. Can you